I think we have to start asking the question, did the Panthers make the right selection?
Hello world, and welcome back to Gridiron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ron, and I'm joined by two members of the collective, the disciple, Brett Colson, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. Donnie is en route to Thanksgiving festivities, which we all wish all of you out there a happy and safe holiday amongst family and friends this weekend. A lot of football, a lot of food. Hopefully you guys get to your destinations safely and have a good time. If you're watching this on YouTube, whether it be before or after the holiday, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars only. Like the clown himself, who will be kicking off the festivities tomorrow from a football perspective, Caleb Williams. I was going up and down the Lions roster, trying to find a 5-star player. Not Penei Sewell, not Jamison Williams, not Brian Branch, not Frank Ragnow, not Jahmyr Gibbs. None of these guys were 5 stars. JMO was not 5 stars.
Wow.
So I got a hidden gem for you.
Who's the hidden gem?
Next time the Chiefs are on Thursday.
Uh-oh. I'll store it away. Who is it?
DJ Humphries.
DJ, the newly signed DJ Humphries. The cavalry coming to Kansas City. Hopefully, for Mo's sake, they can shore up that line a little bit.
Stop. We don't need that.
A very enjoyable, it feels like this week has been forever. Was Bills Chiefs last week? Was that week 12? Or no, it was 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, the Chiefs barely snuck by the Panthers last week.
That's right. Which we almost had the Panthers on our, unfortunately, 1-4 card. I don't think we would have had them if I would have not gone full leverage with the Niners, which I have no qualms about whatsoever, despite the result.
You're not too worried about. We took the team that lost by 28.
No, I mean, there were 2,000 more people on the other side. So, I have no.
It doesn't matter. The Packers were apparently a lock. I mean, good Lord.
It does matter, though, because, I don't know, it's pro football.
It absolutely matters.
I mean, if the 49ers lost by 7, sure. That's not what happened.
That's one result. I mean, how many different outcomes does that game have? How many times did the Niners win that game? I think mathematically, it's still the right call to take the Niners there.
What's most annoying about that is that everybody went 2-3 except for DP, and we had a 1-4 card. So even though we all stunk, we didn't stink as much as 1-4, and we're looking for a bounce back this week. Here's what we're gonna do on the show. First of all, I don't know if you guys, little ASMR for the people out there. There, are you reaching for something there, Brett? No. Can I even get this open? I've got no nails. Okay, here we go.
I thought Brett had a beer for a second. You remember the days of the drunk
I got myself.
cast?
That's what I'm trying to. I'm having a mini. It's not. I don't even know if we can on YouTube. This isn't in the vein.
Allowed? Yeah.
No. Yeah. I don't know. It's who cares? It's this isn't in the seltzer category, but it's basically a pre-made michelada by Modelo. This one's watermelon. I actually just like the lime and salt, but we ran out because I drank them all. So a Modelo here on what I mean for us, it used to be the drunk ass, and it still is. Must be one of the biggest drinking nights in in America. The night before Thanksgiving, and we're gonna do the show
now.
We are very old, very washed here on the program. Gonna do things a little bit different. We don't even have DP's picks yet. So we have 4 picks locked in because I don't think we're going to get off the collective pick, no matter what Donnie does, unless he max smashes the other side. But what we're going to do is, because it is time sensitive, we are going to go through the Thanksgiving games first and Black Friday, And then what we'll do is we'll hit on all the consensus picks that didn't make the card on Sunday, and then the rest of the picks that made the card. And I do say the rest because we are going to have a Thanksgiving game, but it's not the first one. It's not the double roar game where I am waving the white flag. Okay, I'm over it. I'm done clicking the other side against the Lions. I have to pull up my sheet here. In games featuring the Detroit Lions, I am 2-9 this season, and it's because I just keep clicking the other side. So I'm just done. I'm done. The market, for some reason this week, is all in on the Chicago Bears. Look ahead of 11, opens 10, down to 9.5 in the contest. Sharp, influential money is pouring in on the Bears, and I don't really get it after another soul-crushing loss last week. How do these guys get up on the ultra short week? I mean, they don't even get the Thursday morning walkthrough that you get on a Thursday night football game. How do you get up for this game against a Lions team which just continues to beat everybody by infinite? And I don't think, although we've said it time and time again, the first thing people do in this contest is click the Lions. I don't know how popular the Thursday games will be in this contest. How many people will submit these cards early? It's going to be earlier than a normal TNF, that's for sure, but I just don't know how early. So I'm done. I picked the Lions. They're nowhere near my top 5, but I'm sick of being on the wrong side of this team. And Brett, for the 3rd consecutive week, might even be 4th consecutive week, is on the clown. That is Caleb Williams, bubbling your top 5.
Yeah, well, we've been talking for weeks about the Bears and effort, right? Will they show up? Can they be trusted? This is a spot that does worry me because not only is it a short week, but a lot of distractions with the holiday, family, just a different week than what we've seen over the past few. And with little left to play for, this could just be a no-show for this team, right? I think this game is appropriately priced. I wanted nothing to do with either side. So again, it's my record with the Lions can't be a whole lot better because I'm doing the same thing you are, like fading this team at their peak. But maybe it's just not their peak. Maybe it's just like they just continue to get better.
Sorry, you are a smidge higher at 3-8. So congratulations on the one additional win. Mo, you have the Bears a tick lower than Brett.
Yeah, just because this is a game where I could see the Bears moving the ball, unlike the Colts, and keeping up somewhat, which you only have to keep up somewhat to stay within 10. I mean, why can't Caleb throw for another 300 yards? He just threw for 300 yards on the Vikings. And we are all kind of united in not being certain we're behind this Detroit defense. And then a bit banged up as well. Taylor Decker, I guess he's just out. Okay. I did not know that. Carlton Davis apparently also is just out. So I was under the impression those guys were questionable. Now I'm seeing they're out. And the Bears have a matchup advantage on the edge with their wide receivers against these DBs. So, yeah, I think that the Bears can score here. My question is, will Caleb stay upright, I guess? And, he's been better running more. I think he can. I like over 219.5, I think, on passing. It seems low to me when he went for 237 and 340 in the 2 games with the offensive coordinator. And now they're expected to be playing from behind the whole time. So unless he gets sacked a million times and they just can't move the ball, I think that number seems too low to me.
If you like Bears in this game, you also like Bears team total over, because this isn't going to be Bears defense drag it out, like bring the Lions into the muck. That's just not happening in 2024 with the way the Lions offense is operating. And honestly, with the way the Bears defense has kind of curdled here in the start of the second half of the season. And it coincides with Caleb having this renaissance with somebody not named Shane Waldron calling plays for Chicago. So yeah, if you do like the Bears in this spot, Bears team total over is a look as well. It's hard for me to bring up points against you guys. And by the way, Mo, the least stubborn of all of us, 6-5 this season in games, including the Detroit Lions laying the wood the last couple of weeks correctly with Detroit. we move to the second contest where the New York Giants finally said, well, I guess not finally, it's only been 1 week and it is an injury, but they said, vai via, ciao, arrivederci, bye-bye, Tommy, not Danny DeVito. We are going to Drew Lock in this contest. And with that, the collective is all on the New York Giants plus 3.5 in Big D. And it is Brett's selection on the card this week.
Yeah, just an easy buy at this number. Giants with the most embarrassing performance last week. One of the worst I've seen all year. I was really high on their ability to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball last week, and the defense didn't even show up. And we saw what the offense looked like. They didn't even give DeVito a chance really to throw, especially in the first half. They played it extremely safe, like Dable had done with Daniel Jones at a couple times this year, where they didn't even let the QB rip it. With Locke under center, I don't see that happening. I expect Dable to open this up here, get Neighbors more involved. He was complaining after the game this past weekend. And the Giants might actually be a better team with Locke under center than the Cowboys. So this line doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, especially at 3.5. I love the Giants here in a bounce back spot.
My biggest fear with this game, I think, so Drew Lock, what he introduces is a very wide range of outcomes where you have a quarterback like DeVito that won't throw the ball more than 3 yards and constrains everything and narrows the range of outcomes, which we thought was favorable last week in that spot.
Don't say we.
Everybody, we cost Mo real American dollars because he listened to us three idiots and didn't place a wager on Tampa Bay. But in that spot where you're a home dog getting so many points, having somebody who actually narrows the range of outcomes is probably a good thing. In this contest, where your dog's on the road on a short week, it's probably favorable to have a quarterback that is going to widen the range of outcomes and give you possibilities, especially against a Dallas pass rush that is looking like the Dallas pass rush the last couple of weeks. Micah Parsons is firing at full cylinders. They're up to 4th in pressure rate. So you're going to need a guy on the other side that can move around a little bit and chuck the ball. And that's something that DeVito certainly was not going to be able to do. And it's something that we've seen Locke do just last year when they needed it. Injury situation, Locke goes in for Geno, my guy, leads a game-winning drive. And he is the ultimate believer in himself. Like when this dude hits the field tomorrow on Thursday, he will think that he is the best player on the field. And sometimes you need somebody with that type of irrational confidence. My biggest fear is that this will be popular. But like I said in the previous game, how popular are these Thursday games going to be? Mo, what say you? I think you're the lowest amongst us on the Gmail. I could be speaking out of turn.
Is that would mean everyone has them number 1, I think, because
okay. I have them lower in my top 5, and Brett has them number 1. So no, you're right there with us.
Yeah, I can't get to 3.5 here either. I will have real American dollars on the Giants. Unfortunately, I already do. Actually, I shouldn't say will. I took some Giants money bet line as well. I'm not positive the Cowboys are better than the Giants. You just go back to the way Cooper Rush looked against these teams that get a pass rush. The Eagles. He didn't throw one pass past the sticks in that game. So, the Texans, they had 7 points until like garbage time or whatever. Like then last week he goes up against a Washington defense that's atrocious on paper. All of a sudden they score some points. It still only had 10 until the 4th when things got weird. But I'm ready to sell that again, especially when this offensive line is in tatters against a Giants front. That is the only good thing they have going for them. I think the Giants can win up front, like we were talking about last week, possibly. But Tampa Bay has a good offensive line. I think that this is a bad offensive line and a hurt offensive line. And if Cooper Rush is under pressure, he's not going to make plays. I'm pretty certain of that. So I like that matchup for the Giants. And the Giants can run the ball sometimes. We've seen that this year. Dallas stinks at stopping the run, so they're going to need to run the ball, I think, because the one thing that terrifies me more than anything in this game is Micah Parsons against 2 backup tackles. So that I could see things going very badly there. So I'm hoping Daboll has something cooked up. It's still a play caller that I think we all have some trust in against a defensive coordinator that I thought from the beginning is in over his head, is washed, shouldn't be in this job. So yes, I do like the Giants here quite a bit.
Just got a message in the Discord, bit.ly/Discord Moose. Our guy John O'Brien just posts James Harden with an alarm emoji. And I'm like, what's going on? Did he get traded? James Harden has 23 points in the first quarter. Something to monitor. Maybe a 100-burger, a little wilt action here on the night before Thanksgiving. All right, final Thanksgiving game. It's a doozy. Miami and the Dolphins, the greatest football team. It's Tua Tagovailoa traveling to the frigid north to play on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. The Packers are 3-point favorites in a game that is projected to have 24-degree temperatures, 13-mile-an-hour winds, 14% chance of some snow flurries to cap off your Thursday night while you're fighting through a tryptophan phase. And I got to tell you guys, at first, I was with everybody else. I was following the herd. I said, this should be Packers minus a lot. Pile the Packers. Dolphins in the cold. I got to say, guys, I think this is the time where Tua and them boys play a good cold weather game. Got a feeling. This Green Bay defense, I can't shake it. I keep looking at this 29th pass defense success rate, and I can't shake that this team, it doesn't make sense to me that they should be good at stopping the pass. And I see a scenario where without Jair Alexander, I think the Dolphins are going to have a ton of answers in this game. And for the past couple of weeks, we've joked about the offense going through Jonnu Smith and some other ancillary characters. But to me, I'm coming around to the fact that previously, if it wasn't Reek and Waddle, this offense was a 0. And now they just might have more options so that either Tua is processing better or the scheme is allowing for this offense to not be so reliant on 2 players. And that's honestly when things start to hum. You think about the Niners, even pre-McCaffrey. Like when they were at peak performance, it's because somebody like Juszczyk can run a wheel route out of the backfield and kill you on a big play. It's just being as multiple as possible. And I know the last 2 weeks have been absolute pillow fights against the Raiders and the Patriots. These are things that we have to acknowledge. But they've performed as you're supposed to in those scenarios. So the biggest thing for me here is I think that people, if they submit, I think they're going to pile the Packers because of that cold weather narrative. So the Dolphins did make it into the bottom of my top 5. I think this is a good leverage play, and I would not be shocked if the Dolphins just win this game outright against the Packers. Mo, you have this low, but you have the highest opinion on your beloved Green Bay Packers.
Wow. Okay. 2 from the bottom, it looks like for me. This one's been bouncing back and forth between 3 and 3.5. So I think there's some sharps out there who love the Packers, and I think there's some sharps out there who love the Dolphins at 3.5. So I guess what that's telling me is this is probably the right number. I kind of think it's the right number. I am concerned about these Packers injuries on defense a bit. So there is that, I guess. Romeo Doubs is also out. He's probably their most reliable actual wide receiver. I don't know if Jaden Reed, Rule of Rich, counts as a wide receiver. But
he's definitely the most trusted receiver too, by Jordan Love. When it's like third down, goal line, gotta have it. Like his first look is always towards Dobbs.
Yeah, so I feel like Jaden Reed is more a product of like, I feel like he's always going off in the first quarter when they've got the schemed plays ready. And then after that, it's kind of hit or miss. I just didn't really know what to do with the Packers. I don't really know what to do with the Packers in general. They keep playing these weird games where Jordan Love only has 20 pass attempts. So I'm not sure if this team is all that great. I've always been a little bit low on them. And then on the other side, you have a Miami team that you've been the top cheerleader for, and they have been doing well, but yeah, they are marching into a cold weather game on the road that has been a problem for Tua in the past. So I just didn't want anything to do with this one, really.
Can I just add real quick? From a contest standpoint, like this late in the year when we need every point we can get, I decided to just not touch any of these games sitting directly on a key number. So like this game, Ravens, Eagles, Bills, Niners, because we need every half point we can get, right? And a half point doesn't do anything for us. So that's why I have nothing on this at all.
And it's funny too, because for whatever reason, those key number games always drive a ton of action on both sides.
Yep.
So even when you think you have a bit of leverage, you know, like Mo said, there are going to be a ton of people that are happy that maybe bought this when it got off of 3.5, that are just happy to get the flat 3 and think that's value when they've seen 3.5s throughout the week. So that's a really good point about even numbers, specifically key numbers like 3 and 7. We move on to Black Friday, where Mo's Kansas City Chiefs play host to their hated rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders. And Mo, you are, amongst the three of us at least, a lone wolf on Aiden O'Connell, plus 12.5 in the contest, traveling to Arrowhead. Just another workmanlike victory en route for Andy Reid and them boys.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the same thing I say every week. Why would I expect the Chiefs to run away from anybody? They're probably just going to win by 7, the same way they did when they went and played the Raiders before. And I had the Raiders and the points. So, yeah, I took a bad number on this one, unfortunately, on the look-aheads because I got it before Gardner Minshew got hurt. I do think there is a downgrade here with the quarterback, but the Chiefs are really having trouble covering anybody right now. They cannot cover tight ends all year. This has been a problem. Brock Bowers is an extremely good tight end. Jacoby Myers is also quite good at getting open. So opposing pass defenses seem to be just coming in, zeroing in on this guy, Najee Johnson for the Chiefs, and just targeting him relentlessly. And it's working. So until somebody in the Chiefs brain trust shows me a way that they can cover up this problem, I don't know why any other team can't score 20 points on the Chiefs. And if you score 20 points, usually you're going to cover 12.5. Bryce Young was torching this guy. I mean, the Bills made mincemeat of him. This is a major problem. I know Jalen Watson isn't a world beater, but he is a solid, roughly league average corner. And the Chiefs have gone from that to a pigeon. So that's bad, guys. And it's not going well at all.
Man, I wanted to love the Chiefs here. Mainly because at quarterback for the Raiders, you have Aiden O'Connell, who is eligible to come off IR for the first time this week with a thumb injury, playing at freezing cold temperatures in Arrowhead Stadium. And if anything were to happen to him, you get Desmond Ridder, who couldn't score from the one dick hair line last week when we needed it the most. So anything short of 2 touchdowns, I think it's Chiefs or nothing. And isn't this the spot, just like the game-winning drive last week where Mahomes pulls out some magic, runs 30 yards, wins the game? Isn't this the spot with the whole world watching where Mahomes might just go out and throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns and just trounce this cigar smoking, bus circling clown outfit that is the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, Brett, I never see you lay this many points.
And Mahomes hates the Raiders too. So this doesn't have the typical sleepy Chiefs feel to me. And they probably want to get some good results on paper here late in the season too, because it's been a while since they've had one. I don't know. You cap this game and it should be Chiefs by infinite with Aiden O'Connell with a thumb injury. Like you said, going into the cold weather, even when he's healthy, he's atrocious. Like he did beat KC last year on Christmas, but that had nothing to do with O'Connell. His QBR was 11.
Without throwing a pass in the second half?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, completing a pass, if memory serves me.
He was awful. So I don't know how the Raiders move the ball here unless Bowers can get some yak and maybe they hit some deep throws, some DPIs. Like Mo said, they like the Chiefs do have some problems in the secondary. I don't know. I think eventually the Chiefs do have that blowout game, and this could just be it.
Like the Raiders are minus 17 in turnover differential and dead last in turnover EPA, which is predictable. This isn't ball bouncing to the other team type stuff. This is ineptitude specifically at the quarterback position, which is not going to be solved by an injured Aiden O'Connell taking snaps. What happens, Mo, when bad quarterbacks go to Arrowhead? They crumble like a cookie.
I definitely agree that like this game strikes me way more as the game that they would try to take revenge compared to that earlier game on the road when the Chiefs were just trying to churn through the early part of the season. I could definitely see the Chiefs going for the throat here. But again, that would require the Chiefs getting stops. So we'll see if this secondary can cover anybody, which, you know, the Raiders do have some weapons. So we know the Raiders can't run the ball, and the Chiefs are very good at stopping the run. So this is just going to come down to, can the Raiders complete passes? Because last year they ran the ball on the Chiefs, but that was a much different Chiefs defense.
All right, a pair of consensus picks that did not make the card. As the Seattle Seahawks make one of the longer trips of the season across the East Coast to New Jersey. And they take on my fightin' New York Jets. And this is one of the biggest leverage spots of the week because everybody has buried this Jets team deservedly. However, they are coming off of a bye where, like I just said, the Seahawks have one of the toughest travel spots of the year, traveling west, playing at 1 o'clock Eastern. I know this is Geno revenge. I know all the signs point to Seattle carving up this Jets defense, which might be showing the Q word. Breece Hall with this phantom knee injury today, which very weird coming off the bye where they said he hurt it in the Colts game. He never left the game. There was no discussion of it in the post game following the Colts game. Of course, all the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Who knows what's going on there? But Mo, you just have to close your eyes, pinch your nose, and click the Jets.
Yeah, this is a horrible spot for the Seahawks. It's a cross-conference game on the road, long travel, and they just came off 2 monster divisional wins. You have to love the spot for the Jets to ambush them. And then you look at the way these teams are constructed. This is the exact offense the Jets were built to stop. Unlike the Colts, who are going to come out and cram the ball down your gullet, the Seahawks have an atrocious running game. They can't run the ball. So they're going to come out and try to throw the ball. That's what the Jets want. They aren't going to take advantage of this pathetic run defense. I do think this game should be like a pick 'em. I think maybe even Jets -1. I do like the Jets. I think I'm going to have to bet the Jets here.
Bad offensive line for the Hawks, which we know they're still going to drop back and pass a lot. This might be the game where ho-hum after a couple of weeks, getting into shape. Hassan Reddick looks like a guy who was an all-pro last year. Yeah, this is just telltale again.
Tyron Smith might be out, which might be a great thing.
Well, yeah,
looks like he's doubtful.
No, that's a thing. It's over. As soon as he missed the Colts game with the neck injury, I think it was the Colts game, and Olu went in. Like it's just phantom. That's phantom IR time. Like, thanks for coming, Tyron. You don't have to do anything anymore. Honestly, that's what they should do with Aaron. If like they should just, he's got a hamstring injury, he's done. Like, we're tanking for the rest of the season. Get Tyrod in there, but of course, Aaron won't allow them to do that. Brett, you were the highest all year on the New York Jets. You're shaking your head. Put a pin on.
No, you guys make all the right points, but this game is a mystery to me. Like, I want to sell Seattle after those huge wins, and now traveling across the country, holiday week. This is such a short week for them. But I have no idea what to expect from this Jets team. I have no idea what's going on in that locker room. Are they going to show up? Are they not? I have no idea. I think you click Jets, of course, but I had a hard time putting this higher than I did.
The thing about the Jets is they never got their, other than the Cardinals, they never really got their doors blown off, because that Steelers score is pretty wonky with the interception at the shadow of their own goalpost and the fact that they were leading by so much early. So they've only had their doors blown off once this season. They've been competitive in every game. And just the sentiment, the Hawks are going to have, what is the minimum amount in the contest that the Hawks have more selections than the Jets? 500? Is that the stone minimum?
I was going to say 500, yeah.
I'm going to go way over on that one.
Yeah, like the Jets are for this contest specifically. I think this is a pretty obvious teaser side for your real betting ventures. Total of only 42.5. I think the Jets, like I said, have played a ton of competitive games. Specifically, if you can get the 1.5, I see 1 on an influential offshore right now. But if you can get that 1.5 and get it up to 7.5, I think that is a valuable real life click. The other consensus game that did not make the card, speaking of those Indianapolis Colts, the Colts are road favorites in the year 2024 of our Lord. I know it's against the New England Patriots. I know I think I said last week, I think the Patriots are the worst defense in football. They are a horrific football team, but this is just a cardinal rule. You don't lay points with bad teams. You sure as hell in pro football do not lay points on the road with bad teams. Brett, you are the highest on the New England Patriots.
Well, for me, it's specifically Richardson as a road favorite. Like, there's just not enough consistency in this offense. One of the league's worst success rates overall on early downs. And then on the other side of the ball, like, Drake May continues to look better every week. So I really like him getting points here. It's just like you said, cardinal rule. And it's specifically with the Colts and Richardson, I can't lay points with this guy on the road against really anybody. I don't trust him.
The entire receiver room, not named Michael Pittman, was a DNP on Wednesday as well. Yeah. I haven't seen Thursday's report just yet, but Downs, Doolin, and Pierce, all DNPs, shoulder, ankle, foot, respectively. Mo, you're the lowest on the Patriots, and this is like the stinky poo-poo platter special. I thought you'd be with us, all in on the path.
I got a lot of stink bombs up at the top of mine this week. Yeah, I'm definitely agreeing with everything Brett said, which is basically the Colts are a team that I can't lay points with because the floor is so low. If things are going south on offense, who knows what could happen? They could score 10 points, that goes for them basically playing against anybody, even the Patriots. I'm terrified that I'm going to take an L on my Patriots season wins under here. So I really need the Colts to win this game. And this is going to be a major sweat for me. But I think the Colts kind of being shorter favorites is probably warranted. I had this fair as 1.5. So I guess this line's like not the worst. I'm definitely very scared of this game.
Okay, I'm going to have perhaps an insane take. I just want to check one thing real quick before. Okay, so if you're out there, you're listening to this, maybe it's before Thanksgiving, you're getting ready, you brine the turkey or something. Maybe it's after, you're sitting there, button popped open, just letting it all hang, relaxing. You're listening to us and you're like, how in the world are these idiots talking about clicking the New England Patriots in 2024? If you're one of those people and you think the Colts are going to win this game and they're good enough to win and cover on the road, go take that stake and bet on the Colts to win the division because they are only 2 games behind the Texans right now. The Texans seem to be in complete free fall. Bobby Slowick seems to be every bit of the struggling play caller that we saw last year, amplified this season without a fully healthy, it looks like, Tank Dell nor Stephon Diggs to bail him out. And CJ Stroud coming back down to earth a little sophomore slump. And certainly DeMeco Ryans as a defensive coach just is not situated to steer this ship right now. So take that stake that you're going to put on Colts -2.5 and just put it on the Colts to win the division. You're going to get some pretty good plus money there. And if they do win and cover here,
they don't have a single free win on the schedule the rest of the season. So
the Colts have a lot. The problem with the Colts there, though, is that they've lost to the Texans twice. So it's kind of like 3 games back in the division.
The next game, we're starting to get into our card now. I'm going to kick things off because I remain at the top of the leaderboard. And I think some would be surprised by my Dolphins selection earlier, how much I've crapped on them playing in cold weather. Even in the Discord this week, I've said that the Packers were the right side before digging in a little deeper. This is a team I've definitely crapped on over and over and over again. If you flipped a coin on your head, if you flipped a coin and it came up Eagles, you're wrong. But if it came up Bengals, you're absolutely right. I love Bengals -3 in this spot, specifically in this contest, because people are going to look at the most prevalent trend, which is dogs in the AFC North, specifically Tomlin as a dog in this spot. It's going to be one of the most popular things you hear this week. Just looking at the Steelers, despite last week's Snow Bowl, which can be explained away by the weather, they've just been a winning and covering machine for people this season. And the fact that it's a full 3, where I'm still seeing some 2.5s in real life, makes me think that the Bengals are going to have a decent amount of leverage in this spot. I think the Bengals passing attack coming off the bye is in a situation here where they can put a ton of pressure on a Steelers team to go out and have to throw the ball and score, right? The Steelers like to play slow, controlled football games. How many games have they even played where the total is 47.5? Not too many. So if within this range of outcomes, the Bengals can come out and set the tone on offense, if Joe Burrow can get back there, get some protection, which is a worry against a defensive line as stout as Pittsburgh's, if the Bengals can set the pace and throw the ball successfully, they're just going to put Pittsburgh in a spot where they have to play a type of football game that they don't want to play in. And I think within that part of the range of outcomes, there are some Bengals blowouts where they just get out and they get ahead, and it's really hard for the Steelers to play catch up. So I think the number is ugly. I think people are just going to take the points in this divisional matchup, and Burrow has played very well this season, especially compared to their record. And I think this game should be much closer to a 50-50 distribution of tickets. And I think it is going to be very heavily in favor of Pittsburgh in this spot. I don't remember where you guys were at. You guys were very low. Mo, you were on my side with the Bengals. Brett, you had the opposing side. Very last selection with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, again, just going back to that key number, I wanted nothing to do with this game. My worry with the Bengals is Burrow got beat up last week. He was in rough shape. So I think that's where my biggest concern is with him, is how efficient is this passing offense going to be in cold weather with him? Like the wrist injury, he's just, I don't know. He was limping off the field last week. I have my concerns with him, but I do agree. I think the contest will be on Steelers here, so I do like the leverage spot for the Bengals.
Yeah, what stinks too is the bye for the Bengals gets mitigated a little bit by the fact that the Steelers played on Thursday night, so you don't get the full rest advantage. And the other part is that if the Bengals do have success, right, if they are able to establish and play a more defensive-minded game, this is a Bengals defense that has struggled to defend the run. So we are definitely needing the Bengals to get out and have success throwing the ball early and often, or else it's going to be really hard for them to cover the full 3 in this spot.
I said last week. That was 2 weeks ago.
I mean,
Bengals are on the...
Yeah. It was, they had the bye, but semantics. Mo, anything you want to add about Cincy?
I just totally agree that everyone's going to be on the Steelers. I mean, you didn't add that. Like the last time they had the Steelers as +3 against a high-flying AFC North team, they just won outright against the Ravens. They printed everyone was on the Steelers for that game. So that's even going to embolden people even more to take the Steelers here as underdogs. And I just want to real quick, since I dumped on myself earlier with that pathetic early Raiders play, I'll give myself some credit for this one. I took Bengals -1.5 on the openers, so I knew that was just a silly line.
We'll keep it with you, Mo. We'll keep it in the AFC North because you were taking the 5.5 with the aforementioned Cleveland Browns as they travel to ODB's Denver Broncos.
Yeah, this is just me hoping the Browns aren't going to pack it in, because if they don't pack it in, this line is dumb. I mean, in what world are the Broncos this much better than the Browns coming off extra rest in a low-scoring game? And you finally have a team that's going to probably put some pressure up front on Bo Nix. Both quarterbacks are probably going to be under a lot of pressure this game. Jameis Winston is going to sling it down the field and hope for the best. Bo Nix is probably going to turtle, I would guess. So I would prefer to have the side that's slinging it down the field. Yeah, I can't get this one to 5.5, man. If the Browns are still going to be playing hard, this can't be 5.5. I just don't believe that they should be much higher than 3-point favorites here.
Mo, Brett, a lot of market sentiment for your Cleveland Browns. This was a look ahead of a full touchdown. Mo, hoping you got a sprinkle on Cleveland as well. In addition to that -1.5 you got with the Bengals. And Brett, this bubbled your top 5.
I want to love Cleveland here, but it's tough. Jameis on the road in a very tough environment just feels like it could be a powder keg spot where he gives it away against a solid defense. I think that's my biggest concern. Otherwise, yeah, I'm with Mo. I can't get to 5.5 here. It's 7. You said 7? 7.5? That's wild to me that the Broncos could be favored by that much against a team with a pulse. Browns are still playing hard. They're putting up some good results.
All right, we already said Brett's pick was the G-Men, so we'll go to the collective, and this, I fear, is for sure going to be popular. Because it is a Sunday game, and I've not heard one opinion from one person at one microphone as to why the Los Angeles Chargers are favorites against the Atlanta Falcons this week. Falcons coming off the bye, Chargers coming off of a primetime game, a bad travel spot, a bad rest advantage, a Chargers team that was kind of exposed in the fact that if you play heavy personnel bully ball, that they're going to struggle. And we know that the Falcons want to play a lot of heavy personnel, sometimes even 2-back sets, and they want to cram the ball with Bijan Robinson. So why are the Chargers road favorites in this spot? Brett, I'm just so afraid that the Falcons are such an obvious side that they're going to be extremely popular in the contest.
Yeah, I think so too, especially after everybody just watched the Chargers dump all over the field in primetime. You made every single point that I've got here. Like, this is the max rest advantage. Like, traveling east too for a 1 o'clock game. I mean, that this is everything pointing to Falcons, but like you said, everybody's seeing the same thing. So that's where my one concern is. How are the Giants not the collective pick, though? How many points does somebody cram on the Falcons here?
This was very close. It was so close that every single confidence point is in single digits. The second highest was the Giants at 9.5 as on average. And I initially missed the Falcons at 10, an average of 10, because I had 12, Brett had 12, and Mo had 16 on the Falcons. Mo, where are you at on the ATL?
Yeah, just a game where Kirk Cousins should be able to operate in comfort, right? Just because the running game should be working, and that's the key here. Is the Ravens showed that you can pound the rock, like you guys were saying, and Bijan is the last guy I'd want coming at me if I can't stop the run. So I guess maybe Saquon, but that's about it. So yeah, I just think it's a really good spot for the Falcons. But again, everybody sees that. So I will say, I have these spots mapped out for an article that I wrote early in the season, and the ultra rest advantages are 0 against the spread so far. So they are being possibly overvalued, although there was some weirdness with like the 49ers and the Bucks. There was a lot of injuries in that game. And then the Raiders obviously could have covered against the Dolphins. They were inside the number for a lot of that game. But yeah, I mean, small sample, but yeah, it seems like maybe these are overvalued, but it doesn't look like it's baked into the number to me when the Falcons are. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's actually like not being baked in here. I just went back to your article to start the season, opening NFL lines for every game over the lines. The Falcons were -2.5 on the season opener. So we're talking about a 4-point adjustment here off of what? I mean, I think the Chargers have definitely looked better than people projected, but I think the Falcons have kind of been exactly who we think they are. Guys that can contend in this division, who can perform on offense and are going to struggle a little bit on defense. Like, I don't know. This seems like a very, very aggressive adjustment for these two teams. And yeah, the only thing that has given me pause, like for real life betting ventures, this is Falcons money bet line. Like, but for a contest perspective, the only thing that's giving me pause is just how obvious of a spot it seems to be. Those were all the games I mapped out, and I was going to throw it to you guys to see if there's any other games you were interested in, but I think there's one that obviously you two are going to be interested in looking across the board, and it is Jacksonville Jaguars getting 4.5 points at home against the aforementioned Houston Texans. And Brett, Mo is laughing, but Brett's higher. This is his second selection. And I actually have the other side in the middle of my picks for two reasons. One, the Texans are coming off a loss. And Brett, how is Doug Peterson still the head coach of this Jacksonville team?
I don't know. This might be it. But like, I'm trying to figure out what this Texans offense is, because the metrics are telling me over the past month or so, this might be the worst offense in the entire NFL. Like, Stroud has been pitiful. And even over the course of the whole season, like, they're dead last in success rate on early downs. So I think we have to start asking the question, is Stroud the real deal? Did the Panthers make the right selection at number 1 overall last year? Because right now, Bryce Young looks like a better professional quarterback than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's not getting it done. And I don't think it's fair to Young, after all the shit he took last year, if Stroud isn't getting the same criticism. And in this game specifically, I think the Jags coming off the bye, they get their quarterback back this week, even off the loss last week for the Texans and their stock falling. I just can't get back on them as road favorites in a divisional game until I see more out of this offense. The play calling is just horrendous.
I can't believe I'm off the hook for the worst take of the year. I had it in the bag last week saying that Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen might be better than Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, but here you are saying that Bryce Young is.
Am I wrong though? Like, Stroud has been horrifying.
You know what I see out of Stroud? I see Jordan Love, right? I see a guy who is supremely confident in his abilities, and what that leads him to do is make really stupid decisions where he thinks off-platform, unplanned, he can fit the ball into the tightest windows, which you got to learn a lot quicker in this league that you can't. These guys are too fast, too talented. Doesn't matter what team you're playing, how poorly they might be doing on the season. You can't get away with those types of throws more often than not. The biggest problem here is that Jacksonville is so bad at defending the pass, so bad at creating pressure, that in these spots where the Houston Texans offense is literally third and CJ, please God, make a play. I think that works against Jacksonville because
you only got one guy who you're worried about catching a pass, though.
But does it matter? Dude, the Jags are giving up 0.3 EPA per dropback on the season. It is like prime Peyton Manning is walking onto the field every single week against the Jags.
I know that's a thing, but I still I can't get Houston to 4.5 here, man. Gonna have to have real money on the Jaguars. And I think we might have finally seen this Houston defense hit its breaking point with these injuries, man. I mean, I was wondering how the hell the Titans scored 30 points, and then I'm looking at this injury report, and this is a disaster. Will Anderson, Danico Autry, Folu Fatukasi, Jalen Petrie. I mean, these guys are all starters for this Houston defense, man. That's like almost half the defense, and that's just the guys who are hurt right now. I'm not even like looking at the IR or anything. I don't know. Houston might just not be a very good team at this point. So I do not know how they can be laying 4.5 on the road against anyone. I know the Jaguars stink. I know we all think the Jaguars have packed it in, but like Brett said, with Trevor Lawrence coming back, we could see at least the tiniest of sparks. And I don't think you need that much of a spark to cover 4.5 against what Houston is doing right now.
Okay, so I think that covers it. If there's any games, anything else you guys saw? Brett, are you ready for the snow? First big one of the season. Looks like it's headed your way.
Bro, it's almost December. Of course I'm ready for the snow. I'm ready for the snow in like September because you never know when it's going to hit, right? I've had my snowblower ready to go since mid-September. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. We're not even supposed to get that much. I'm just talking about this huge storm that's coming our way. We're going to get like 6 inches. That's nothing. All right? So calm down. Pump the brakes on this huge storm that's coming on Sunday.
Let's do one for the people.
I wish, and I'll leave it at this. I wish that we didn't have to submit the card on Thursday because I think one of the best leverage spots of the year might be Bills -7 if Purdy is announced in.
Yeah.
But that's one where I'm just like, this line is lunacy, potentially. Like,
is it though?
Yes.
Is this the Niners?
I need to know who's taking the field for the Niners, obviously, but I'm kind of wanting to click the Niners.
I'm assuming none of these guys are playing. I mean, it comes out today that Fred Warner's been playing with a broken ankle since week 4.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the Niners, guys. This is a broken team. Shanahan is standing at the podium with a 5 o'clock shadow looking like Droopy the dog last week. Like, they are left for dead. A team that was close to the pinnacle last year and finds themselves scrapping just to make the playoffs. I think the Bills are the exact type of team, tough, on the road, in the cold weather, at night, that can just kind of pummel them into submission and send them on their way for this season. So for that reason, I wish we could get some leverage. I wish we didn't have to submit this card till Saturday. I wish Purdy was announced in, and we could get another 2,000 selection advantage on Buffalo. And that's my last take.
One for the people, Rich.
What's that?
The game everybody was excited to bet.
Oh,
where were you guys at on Ravens, Eagles?
We have to take the dog, right? Does everybody have the dog?
I clicked on the Ravens, man. Isn't this a good matchup for the Ravens?
Potentially.
You got a Eagles team that just loves to pound the rock against a Ravens team that
aren't the Eagles going to throw for 400? Aren't the Eagles going to throw for 400 in this game?
Are they? They are 31st in pass rate over expected this year. 31st.
I guess this then comes down to rule of coaches' numbers. Like if we call Sirianni tonight, he's on a bender the night before Thanksgiving. We ask him, "What's the plan? You guys going to throw the ball every single play?" Which you should. What would the Ravens do to stop these two receivers? They have no answer. But you're right. They might just turn and hand to the MVP, Saquon Barkley.
Wow.
I was tempted to play the Ravens at 3. I don't know. But I still am skeptical of this Eagles defense. The Rams came out and just were marching, and then that stupid fumble, and then Matt Stafford took too many sacks. Lamar won't do that. So I don't know. I am tempted to play the Ravens at 3.
I think the biggest thing about this game is the price has not changed despite the Brandon Graham injury. And this is one of those where it is now a cluster injury, right? We already have Huff on IR despite how poorly he played this season. Now you've got BG on IR. Like, it's starting to get real thin at the pass rush spot. But if there's ever a team where pass rush might not matter as much as kind of keeping the integrity of the pocket and keeping Lamar not running the ball, it might be the Ravens, right? Like, maintaining your rush lanes and just being disciplined matters way more than getting to the quarterback against the Ravens, as crazy as that sounds, because Lamar just, I mean, there was one play against the Chargers this last week where he moved in such a way that I thought they whistled the play dead. Like, he kind of did like the jump forward, jump back thing. And I was like, what just happened? And like, he just put a clown suit on one of the Chargers pass rushers. So if there's ever a game where it might not matter that much, it might be this one, but starting to get worried about the quality of pass rushers on Philadelphia. But I don't know. I think you got to take the dog in the spot. But I do think the Eagles are going to be popular in the contest. People getting the full 3. Eagles crushing every week. Saquon winning MVP. So I think the Eagles will be super popular. Follow these guys on Twitter at Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Monora, NUWWARAH, and give our carpool guy at Donnie_Peters a follow as well. Enjoy the festivities, enjoy the football, enjoy your family. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, Ciao.